This is the AEW Dynamite on 31st Street results video, which takes place at New York City's Hammerstein Ballroom. The show started with a Continental Classic Blue League match between Will Ospreay versus Brody King. Ospreay with leg kicks as he looks to bring down the big man, but can't use his speed to evade Brody, who connects with some power moves. On the outside, Will drops King face first into the ring steps, then Brody fires back by slamming Ospreay onto them. An Ospreay suplex is countered into a fisherman suplex by King, but Will comes back with a springboard Pele kick and sends Brody to the outside, then hits a corkscrew splash off the top. They trade chops, with Brody barking off Will's and Brody no-sells some forearms before knocking Ospreay down with one, then chops him out of the ring after draping him over the top turnbuckles. The beating continues, but when King tries to keep him down with his boot, Bruff powers up for another chop exchange, and powers up after being brought to his knees again. Will's fighting spirit really kick in, but he gets axe-handled out of the air on a Husker attempt. Ospreay counters King's follow-up into a Styles Clash and hits it, but he only gets two. In the end, Will Ospreay defeated Brody King by pinfall with Stormbreaker, earning 3 points for a total of 9 points. Backstage, Renee Paquette meets the Hurt Syndicate as they arrive, and she knows they're here for Shelton Benjamin's C2 match, but she has to inform MVP and Bobby Lashley they've been banned from the building. Shelton wants to take care of Christopher Daniels and the security he brought to enforce this ban, but MVP tells Renee he and Bobby will leave out of respect for her. Then we saw a Continental Classic Gold League match between Darby Allin versus Ricochet. Darby evens things up with a dive and gets some of his usual offense in on the floor, but Ricochet evades a charge and Allin goes midsection first into the guardrail to regain control. Rick sets up a table and eventually drapes Darby over it and heads up top, hits 630 senton. Ricochet is in pain and Allin is non-responsive. 2 minutes left in the match. Rick wants the pin, but his attempt to end it gets countered into a Scorpion Death Drop. He climbs, hits Coffin Drop, but time runs out as he hits it. With that, Ricochet and Darby Allin has a draw, each earning 1 point to take them to 10 and 7 points. With that, Ricochet is guaranteed to advance to the semifinals on Saturday, and he has a piece of the toilet paper the crowd's been throwing at him stuck to his back as he cackles his way to pose with the Continental belt. Allin limps his way past an entering Commander, and whispers something in both his and Alex Abrahante's ear as they pass. Before his match though, we get a word from Switchblade Jay White, and he covers how he's been beaten repeatedly by the Death Riders, but that's why Jon Moxley doesn't want to go one-on-one with him for the world title. But even in the four-way at World's End, he'll find his way to Moxley and the title. Then we saw a Continental Classic Gold League match between Claudio Castagnoli versus Commander. Big Swiss, who takes control immediately and is pretty cocky about it, which probably isn't the best strategy given that all he needs to do is draw to advance to the semis. He carries the new Raw TV champ on his shoulders to the top and hits a gutbuster from there, but Commander kicks out. Commander tries to send Claudio to the floor, but the Death Rider keeps control and slams his opponent into the apron. Commander sends Claudio shoulder first into the barricade, then he goes back into the ring and flies, flattening the bigger man on the floor. He ends up booted to the floor, and Castagnoli is angry when referee Rick Knox won't let him follow. On the floor, Commander pulls Allin's pink hoodie from under the ring and finds the brass knucks. Claudio knocked Darby out with on Saturday in the pocket and hits a punch on Claudio and won the match by pinfall, earning his first and only 3 points of the tournament. Claudio is eliminated because he and Ospreay both have 9 points, and Will has the head-to-head tiebreaker and he's the runner-up, and Ricochet wins the Gold League. Death Riders hit the ring to take out Commander post-match. The beatdown is on, until Jay White and Orange Cassidy make the save and are put down themselves, finished off by a hooded Jon Moxley with the briefcase he makes Marina Shafir carry around for him. Moxley gets a mic to tell Orange Cassidy and Switchblade that as long as he breathes, they won't be champ, and he's angry they even laid eyes on it. Hangman Page's music hits and Hammerstein chants cowboy shit. White and Cassidy back up and the champ is surrounded, and he charges Page with the briefcase, but he ducks and OC hits the orange punch, hits a buckshot lariat. There's a tense standoff around Moxley's briefcase as the crowd chants open it. They don't, slowly backing away from each other, and it after Orange puts his sunglasses on. Then we saw a Continental Classic Blue League match between Kazuchika Okada versus Shelton Benjamin. Appropriately, they take a while feeling each other out at the start. Okada takes control with a DDT on the floor, but Benjamin catches the Rainmaker for a suplex off the top when he climbs for a follow-up, and he's in the driver's seat. Okada rolls over to kick free, then works a head and arm submission until Shelton sends him into the corner to break the hold. Okada immediately hits a neckbreaker, slams Benjamin down and climbs to hit the elbow drop. Rainmaker misses, and Shelton with a trio of high-release Germans. Roll-up counter from Okada gets 2. Another back and forth, then Okada grabs a wrist during one exchange for a sudden end and hits a Rainmaker to win the match by pinfall, earning 3 points for a total of 10 points. Okada is now guaranteed a spot in the semis, along with the winner of the main event between Kyle Fletcher and Daniel Garcia. Benjamin offers his hand, Okada flips him off, then shakes it. Renee is talking to Swerve Strickland about his plans for the new year. Hearing the Who's House chants from the arena, he talks about the connection with the fans he forged over the past year. He doesn't get too far into his resolutions when Ricochet barges in. Following up on their scene from last week, Rick brags about advancing to the C2 semis. He promises to win it, something Strickland couldn't do last year, and also returns the shoot name favor and calls Swerve Stefan, then does his laugh. Swerve says Ricochet has it wrong and wants him and everyone at AEW to succeed. But if Rick doesn't get it done Saturday, Strickland promises to embarrass him big. He returns the laugh, and Ricochet comes back with, "That's why your house got burned down." A New York Minute from Chris Jericho sets up a match between him and Anthony Bowens for the last Rampage. The next match happened between Toni Storm versus Taya Valkyrie. Taya Valkyrie gets kicked in the gut for her trouble, and Valkyrie is in control, much to Hammerstein's dismay and Deonna Purrazzo's delight. Our amnesiac heroine gets smashed in the corner, but Storm fights back until that is cut off by Purrazzo grabbing her leg to thwart a hip attack. Valkyrie grabs the same leg and pulls Toni to the floor to continue her assault. In the end, Toni remembers the hip attack through, but a Purrazzo distraction allows Taya to hit a spear. She spends too much time bloating though, and Toni Storm defeated Taya Valkyrie by pinfall with a roll-up. Renee is talking to Hangman Page backstage and she doesn't know what's going, and wants to know if he's going to work with Cassidy and White to end Moxley. Page starts to talk but is cut off by Christopher Daniels, who offers Hangman whatever he need to win on Saturday. The Cowboy wonders why he'd need help from an ineffectual interim EVP like CD, which Daniels says is fair. But he and Page were AEW before there was an AEW, and he also knows what it's like to be alone with SCU not around. If Hangman needs a friend, he'll be there, and Page abruptly ends the segment by mumbling, "No interview, it's Christmas." In the main event of the show, we saw a Continental Classic Blue League match between Kyle Fletcher versus Daniel Garcia. Garcia with a fast start, which sends Fletcher outside to compose himself and sends the international champ to the mat as the crowd chants their negative thoughts about him. He taunts Garcia, which fires him up, mounted punches in the corner, but Fletcher sends him crashing to the floor. Garcia with chops when Fletcher follows, more mounted punches at the barricade, which the Aussie ends by slamming Garcia back first into the apron. Garcia survives Kyle's next flurry to get a guillotine, but Fletcher gets to the ropes. Garcia gets it again through the ropes, but ends up taking a brutal brainbuster on the apron, Liger bomb back in the ring, but DG somehow kicks out. Fletcher lines him up, but Garcia gets a takedown. Confusion around the Dragon Tamer allows the Callis family member to hit a low blow and follows with another brainbuster, but Garcia kicks out again. A pair of thrust kicks rock Garcia, but he lures Fletcher into a Dragon Tamer. He gets in it deep and drags Fletcher to the middle of the ring and goes too deep and gets his head driven into the mat as a result. Flash jackknife cover gets 2 for Garcia, but Fletcher wins the ensuing exchange. He gets Garcia up in the corner again, and won the match by pinfall with a turnbuckle brainbuster, earning 3 points for a total of 12 points. Excalibur is no sooner done explaining that this means Fletcher wins Blue League, when Gold League runner-up Ospreay arrives for a stare-down. Before the show ends, Jon Moxley cuts a promo from backstage about taking care of business in triplicate on Saturday, so the Death Riders can get back to driving weakness out of AEW. He talks about how the world title is who he is, not a prize to be shown off. He's the king, and he was born for it and everything that comes with it. He says he's the only king there's ever been as he walks off, with Marina and the briefcase right behind him, and the show goes off the air. Merry Christmas to everyone, and thanks for watching the video.